there's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamma Mia podcast.
Toilets in Japan are next level. If I can tell you that I don't even know what to call this, like post-poo depression coming back to Australia after visiting Japan.
Your butthole was just like...
It was not happy going back to a regular old toilet seat.
Did you get constipated? It's like, I'm not going anymore.
I mean, it didn't go that far, but it was considering protests.
Oh.
Hi there, friends. Welcome to the summer series of Well. I'm Claire Murphy.
And I'm Dr Mariam.
Mariam, do GPs get time off at this time of year? I imagine you're on the job like 365 days a year.
I'm going to give you a lengthy answer.
This is not a simple one. Okay.
One of the
Buckle up.
One of the things I love about being a GP, especially as a female, is flexibility. So we pick and choose when we can take time off, which is a big reason why many females choose general practice as a medical career. It gives us a bit more control over schedules, especially when we're juggling family life. That said, the trade-off is when we don't work, we don't get paid. So no sick leave or paid time off, and unfortunately no maternity leave.
Really?
Either. Yeah, so many female GPs, especially those who run their own clinics, work as much as they can. Obviously, they need to work to keep the clinic running. There are big costs involved in running a clinic, which is why there are those gaps, because those MBS codes don't cut it. We also know the demand to see your doctor actually goes up over the holidays. People are just suddenly like, oh, I haven't seen the doctor in a while. I've got some time off.
I haven't spoken about the thing that I have for a while,
Yes, we see a lot of like, I've had this chronic cough for 7 years.
Do you also see, the stat that comes in every year around Christmas and New Year, that ER appearances really ratchet up because people are dumb and do silly things?
And not just that as well. A lot of people are lonely over those periods of times as well. So there is that social component as well.
Component too.
And mental health component as well. But when I was training in the hospitals, it was a completely different story. So you could request time off over Christmas or Easter or the holidays, but rarely was it approved. I think I missed like 5 years worth of family gatherings in a row, to be honest. And I also worked up until the day of my wedding. I wasn't given any leave. So till the day before my wedding I was working.
And now you're about to pop out a kiddo and you don't get any maternity leave.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Perks of being a GP.
Yeah, fun times. Well, in case you missed the last couple of weeks, we're doing a shorter version of Well for you over this period. So you aren't committing to a full, hour listen. You can put your feet up and just chill out with us for the next 15, 20 minutes or so. So today, Mariam, we have an anonymous quick consult for an issue with wiping after doing a number 2. But first, I have found out why sometimes one drink sends you over the edge when at other times 10 feels like it barely touches the sides.
Welcome to med school.
So today's med school, have you ever wondered why sometimes when you do drink alcohol, it feels like it only takes one and you're already tipsy?
Yeah.
And then at other times you could drink an entire river and not feel a thing? Not that I'm advocating drinking a river, because drink responsibly.
Yes.
It could actually, and I say could, actually be about where you are in your menstrual cycle or even the stage of life.
Okay, always the case. Huh?
Okay. I mean, every conversation we have about women's health does come back to hormones at some stage. Damn you, estrogen. So for starters, the enzyme that breaks down alcohol is called alcohol dehydrogenase. And women have about half the level that men do, and we also do it in a different spot, or more of it in a different spot. So men have more of those enzymes in their gut, so it's metabolized before it hits the bloodstream.
Yep.
Women tend to have more of it in their liver, which is after it's been in your bloodstream. And we've seen this with the guidelines for standard drinks for men and women. It was less for women than it was for men to reach certain levels that still allowed you to drive, and that is because it hits our bloodstream in higher quantities than it does men generally. And we say generally because obviously there's lots of other factors that go into this, your body size, your body type, all of those kinds of businesses. Because we also have average less circulating blood than what men do, which is why we might end up with a higher blood alcohol level after the same number of drinks. It's a bit more concentrated. So it's a lot of factors going into why women have higher blood alcohol levels than men after the same amount of drinks. But here's why you might feel sometimes alcohol is more or less potent at times. So estrogen makes that alcohol dehydrogenase enzyme more efficient, at least That is what they found out when they studied it on rats. So the first 2 weeks of your menstrual cycle when estrogen...
Were they intoxicating the rats?
They were intoxicating the rats. Sorry, rats, but yes. So the first 2 weeks of your menstrual cycle when estrogen is higher, you're more effective at breaking down alcohol. But then in the second half of your cycle when estrogen is lower, that's when you're more likely to get drunk and suffer a worse hangover. So that also might explain too why some of us get way less tolerant to alcohol when you hit a certain age and perimenopause kicks in, because your estrogen levels start to decline.
Yeah.
So when you're hitting up all of these end-of-year functions and Happy New Year's functions,
time them with your menstrual cycle.
make sure you check where you're at in your cycle because that could be why alcohol is more or less potent for you.
Yeah.
At least that's what they found out when they tested this on rats, which means they haven't done human testing at this stage. So it's a little bit of a theory, but it may apply to us eventually when they do get around to human testing.
I'm sure lots of humans will sign up to that clinical trial.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, there are other factors at play.
Oh, yeah, lots of other things.
A big part of the puzzle is also body composition. So we know women have a higher fat to water ratio than men. And since alcohol is water soluble, it ends up more concentrated in the bloodstream. And as we age, that lean body mass and total body water both decrease, which slows down metabolism and further intensifies the effects of alcohol. So even if your drinking habits haven't changed, so we know shifts in body weight, hydration, or we know how much you've eaten that day can make alcohol feel stronger. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've been lots of different weights over my time and I have noticed that alcohol does impact me differently
based on the weight.
Based on how much I weigh at the time. So I've been bigger and alcohol has been less effective on me, and when you lose weight, it is more effective. Well, at least for me, in my experience. But remember, drink responsibly. That was not advice to go out and do 10 shots just because you're in the first half of your cycle, okay? Next, it is quick consult time. An anonymous waiting room admission has an issue that you might be experiencing too after a little bit too much holiday indulgence. All right, Mariam, it is quick consult time. Please, if you will.
The doctor will see you now just through here to consult room 1.
Thank you for waiting. How can I help you?
Today's quick consult is from someone who has preferred to remain anonymous, and you can do that too in the waiting room. All you have to do is click the link in the show notes. It's an online form. There is a few steps to it. Tell us your question and we will get around to answering them all at some stage. There is a little bit of a list, so you might just have to be a little bit patient. This person today has a poo problem. She has written,
yeah, so whenever I go to the toilet for a poo, I end up having to wipe a ton of times before I get to clean paper. It's like there's still poo coming even though I'm done and I've wiped a stack of times. So like sometimes even ages after I've gone to the toilet and I finally get a clear wipe, I get a little smear of poo in my undies. Does this mean there's something wrong with my bowels or my butthole? Is everything normal?
All right, so you've discovered a bit of an unwanted souvenir skid mark on your undies later in the day. Let's have a chat about what's going on here. So why the skid marks later? That's what we call fecal smearing or anal leakage. Lovely terms, I know.
that used to come on certain gum packets that used
May cause anal leakage.
Yeah, that were like sugar-free or something. I remember as a kid reading that, like, what?
So there are some pretty common reasons. Number one, incomplete evacuation. That's a big one. So you might not be fully emptying your bowels when you go to the toilet, so a little bit is getting left behind, and that's slowly leaking out over time. Weak pelvic floor or sphincter tone can be another issue. Those muscles around your bottom help seal everything in, but if they're weakened from things like chronic constipation, childbirth, heavy lifting, or just getting older, they might not be doing their job properly and keeping that poo in.
Can you do like exercises like
yes,
you do your Kegels?
Pelvic floor exercise. Those pelvic floor muscles help for rectal prolapse, for pelvic floor issues, all of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Mucus discharge. So sometimes the rectum can produce excess mucus that can carry a bit of stool residue within it. So we just want to exclude that as well. Then there's hemorrhoids and anal skin tags. So these can trap small amounts of stool and make cleaning a little bit harder. Think of it like trying to wipe peanut butter off a shaggy rug, right?
Okay.
Not
That's
easy.
a great visual image, but yes. Okay.
So what can you do at home? So the good news is there are some simple changes that can make a massive difference. So I'd start by boosting fiber intake, so aiming for 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day.
What does 25 grams of fiber look like?
So oats, whole grains, fruit, vegetables, and a lot of people do not get adequate fiber in their diet. So I always just say buy fiber from over the counter. There are a lot of brands that are tasteless. Just mix
Like things
this.
you can stir into a
You
glass
stir
of
in,
water?
yeah.
Okay.
And so if you're not getting enough, the thing is you can't have fiber without water though. Okay. So you need to have those two hands in hand. So
Can I just say I know people who never drink water?
yeah. So
Like never.
yeah,
I
that's,
don't know how they're still alive.
yeah, that's
I mean,
not
they
good.
get fluids other ways, obviously, but
Yeah.
like just never have a glass of water.
No, we need water. So water helps fiber to do its job effectively. And then position matters. Try using a footstool like those squatty potties, and you want the knees above the hips. You want that more natural squatting position. It really helps get everything out for that complete evacuation. Don't rush. So give yourself time to fully empty.
Okay, so you need to be somewhere between
yeah.
the men who sit on the toilet with their phones for 2 hours
Yeah.
and those of us who are like
Who
get
are
out.
moms with, kids
Yeah.
banging on the door. If
Yeah.
you're anything like me, Jacob wants to sit on my lap when I'm doing number 2. It's
My dog, we have a sliding door
Yeah.
into our toilet, so
Yeah.
my dog has figured out how to open it
And
while
just
I'm
sits
like,
there.
and just like noses it open and then comes in and wants a pat. I'm like, excuse me,
Yeah.
personal space, learn it.
Give me space, buddy. Not the best time. Consider a bidet. So they clean more thoroughly. So there's little hoses that you can use to wash everything. So they clean more thoroughly and they're a little bit more gentle than toilet paper, reducing that irritation and helping you feel a bit more fresh that you haven't left anything behind. And then we mentioned, the pelvic floor exercises, even for blokes, they strengthen the muscles that keep everything inside and where it should be. So when should you see your GP? This is really important. So there's a huge spectrum of normal when it comes to bowel habits. But if this is happening often, it's definitely worth seeing your GP. Don't be embarrassed. We literally talk shit all the time. And here's what we'd want to know. We'd want to know if the stools are well formed or they're consistently too soft. Are you straining or feeling like you haven't finished? Is there any pain, itching or bleeding? Have you had a sudden change in your bowel habits? And more importantly, is this affecting your quality of life? Bottom line, no pun intended, it's a common issue, usually simple solutions, but definitely see your GP to exclude any underlying sinister issues, which we should rule out.
Or move to Japan where they're living 1,000 years in the future.
About those.
They've just invented a toilet that will scan your poo on the way out. I don't know what it scans for and I don't know if it's even helpful, but that seems like something that people in Japan would do.
And they've got amazing toilet seats that just wash and dry your asshole.
Toilets in Japan are next
Next
level.
level, yeah.
If I can tell you that I don't even know what to call this, like post-poo depression coming back to Australia after visiting
Your
Japan.
butthole was just like...
It was not happy going back to a regular old
Did
toilet
you get
seat.
constipated? It's like, I'm not going anymore.
I mean, it didn't go that far, but it was considering protest. Having to sit on a cold seat after sitting down on a pre-warmed toilet
Yeah.
seat. I mean, I know you can buy them here in Australia, but they're just not as
Yeah.
prevalent. Even public toilets in Japan are like this.
I
like
know,
it's just
next level.
so good. Well, on that note, thank you for that fabulous question. If you want Dr. Mariam to answer something that you've been worrying about and haven't spoken to anyone yet, please shoot those questions through. It's really easy to do it. There's a couple of ways. DM us on the Instagram, get an email to us, well@mamamia.com.au, or you can always hit up the waiting room, which the link you can find in our show notes. As we do every episode of Well, we have to tell you that today's information is general. It's not specific to you, and you are a very specific person. So make sure you go to your GP, get that healthcare team together, and armed with the information that you've heard here today, get your stuff sorted out. Next time we catch up, I'm bringing you another real life story. This time I'm speaking with Diana about a condition that she's been diagnosed with, one that she shares with actresses Selma Blair and Christina Applegate, and more than 33,000 Aussies. 3 out of every 4 of them women. We are, of course, talking about MS. So we'll bring you that story later in the week. So we'll see you for your appointment then.
Bye-bye.
Well is produced by me, Claire Murphy, and our senior producer, Sally Best, with audio production by Scott Stronach, video production by Julian Rosario, and social production by Ellie Moore.
Mamma Mia acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we've recorded this podcast on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and the Wonnarua people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.